morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever in the world you are. Welcome to this program. Tonight, I'd like to discuss a tweet message sent by the Honorable Nelson Chamisa, former president of Triple C. I believe that Twitter is probably one of the few where he was being brutally honest. Let's go through it. It's a short one. This is Nelson Chamisa. In this tweet, he said, expect nothing new except and until the old dies. And it's a painful process. The old must cease to exist for the new to kick in and subsist. It may look impossible, but we'll make it because hashtag God is in it. Have a blessed Friday and good weekend. I find that amazing. Welcome to you, Benjamin. What do you think?
Thank you for having me on the program once again. And to our viewers, thank you for joining us. Talk about ambiguity, being very vague. I believe it could mean absolutely anything. Why? It could mean, talking about ZANU-PF waiting for it to die. Secondly, you can be talking about his own political party to let the whole commotion die out and then, not re-strategize, but tell us what is actually going on, because nobody really knows exactly what is going on. So for me, I don't know what he meant, and that's the frustrating part to say, okay, if this is one of his strategy to say, I'm not going to play, to open up my cards, it leaves us, the citizens, or let me rather say, the followers, Chamisa's followers, they are left, in the dust. They're left in the middle of nowhere. They don't know whether to turn left or to turn right. And with all this commotion and circus that is happening, it's rather frustrating. I feel sorry for people, the ordinary Zimbabweans.
Well, my take on it is quite is totally different. I think when you say that expect nothing to change, he absolutely means it. People must realize here that we have had the MDC/Triple C for the last 23 years, and nothing has changed. The people risk their lives, their livelihoods, limbs to vote MDC into power on the understanding that the party would implement the democratic reforms necessary to stop ZANU-PF rigging the elections. But as we saw last year, ZANU-PF blatantly rigged those elections. Nothing has changed. I think this is probably one of the most truthful things he has ever said. And it's a pity that people would fail to realize the full import of that statement. And as we go forward, without any reforms, it's certain that ZANU-PF will rig the 2028 elections. Nothing will change. He has been promising change, and now he's telling you nothing is going to change, except when the old have died. In this case here, we are now waiting for ZANU-PF ruling elite to die. Yes, so far we have had the ZANU-PF ruling elite mostly coming from the former Liberation War heroes. But it is naive, and I know many people think that once that generation is gone, the country will change. It is being naive. Because ZANU-PF, like any other party, is renewing itself. We saw with Mugabe, he was trying to create his own dynasty. And Mnangagwa is doing the same. And even if he fails, there are still a lot of people coming up the ranks in ZANU-PF hungry to take over. So to think that ZANU-PF will somehow fizzle out is naive, to say the least. I think that is a problem that we have here. ZANU-PF, do you see ZANU-PF disappearing yourself?
Oh no, I agree with you. I don't see ZANU-PF going anywhere, and you are right to say, it's actually breeding the upcoming group, and unfortunately for us, it looks as if the upcoming group is more corrupt, and they are more ruthless. I mean, you can see the way they carry themselves, the way they talk. It's as if they're just out for blood, and it's their way or the highway. And but from going back to the tweet, what I find very disappointing is, there's this here idea to say there's Chamisa is launching a new party. I mean, his henchmen are already starting or laying the groundwork. How do people go on, when you know nothing has been said towards it, and we are already willing participants to it? I find that they, just I don't know what is going on with us. Why can't we just stop for a bit and sometimes just ask ourselves, what? There's nothing that has been said, but we're already hopping on. It's like just going, to one of the terminuses in town, and you close your eyes and you hop onto a bus. You don't know where this bus is going to take you. What type of a journey is that? This is exactly what, for me, what I read in between the lines when he says something so vague like that. Where does it leave the people that are his followers, the ones that he say these are the most important, the fundamentals of any party? I believe we are being taken for a ride, and we are being shortchanged through ZANU-PF and through Triple C and through this blue upcoming. It's just going to be the same thing. At the end of the day, we are left to suffer, and nothing is being asked or nothing is being said about it, but we're just willing to go with it. It's sad. It's very, very sad.
Well, as for where we are going, I think in this tweet, he has said where we are going. Nothing is going to change, and I believe that is the take-home message that he's sending today. Nothing is going to change, and for those people who seem to uh, please themselves and believe that things are going to change, you are only flattering yourself. Nothing is going to change. You cannot change the regime without implementing the reforms. And after 23 years, MDC, Triple C have failed to implement even one meaningful reform. This is where the problem people seem to have here. If you seriously think you can have any meaningful democratic change in Zimbabwe without first implementing the reforms, then you really don't understand what's going on here. As long as ZANU-PF retains the power to rig the elections, and let's face it, during the GNU, Mugabe and MDC, Morgan Tsvangirai and his MDC friends, came to an arrangement, a cozy arrangement. They were afforded all the trappings of high office, and in return, they forgot about reforms. Nelson Chamisa himself was one of the ministers in the MDC, on the MDC side, in that GNU. They failed to implement even one reform. And they decided they will cooperate with the regime, get the benefits of the gravy train, meanwhile, sit tight, wait for the regime to die, for the old to die. And they've been waiting now 23 years. As far as they are concerned, they're comfortable. They've been participating in these elections out of greed. I keep referring to this quotation from David Coulthard in his book. In the 2013 election, he is admitting there that the MDC guys participated in those elections, knowing fully well that they are flawed, knowing fully well that participating will only give ZANU-PF legitimacy. But they still participated because they were after the few seats that ZANU-PF was offering out of greed. And this is the causal relationship that most people are, if people are failing to understand that, you are going absolutely nowhere. Whether you like it or not, this admission by David Coulthard should have been taken seriously. People did not. This admission today by Nelson Chamisa that nothing is going to change should be taken very seriously, because he's telling you, for the first time, he's telling you the truth. Nothing is going to change until the old guard is dead. And like I have said, the old guard is not dying. Yes, of course, if we look at, say, 50 years from now, most of those who fought in the liberation war would definitely be dead by then. But they're already got a lot of people coming through the ranks of ZANU-PF to take over their place. Mnangagwa himself is trying to establish his own dynasty. And those people are not going to give up power just because those who fought in the liberation war are dead. Forget it. That is not going to happen. So while the opposition does nothing about reforms, thinking that if the old guard, once the old guard is dead, then we can have change, they are kidding themselves. And I think this is the message I want to send home to all Zimbabweans out there. Chamisa is telling you for the first time the truth. Chamisa and company are sitting tight. They are waiting for the old guard to die, and they are not going to do anything. That's why they've not implemented even one token reform in 23 years. And that's why in 23 years, nothing has changed. ZANU-PF was able to rig the 2023 elections precisely because not even a one token reform was implemented. That is the message I would like to leave with everybody. Benjamin, thanks very much. Would you like to give your concluding remarks there?
Sure, thanks. So what I would say in conclusion is, we like the idea of democracy, a free and fair election, but we have to realize that there are preconditions for such, an environment to exist. And the most important condition is that we as a people be able to think for ourselves, to judge, to scrutinize, and to ask questions. We cannot continue letting people just roll over us, whether be it in ZANU PF, whether it be it in Triple C, whether be it in all the other parties and the upcoming ones. We need to think for ourselves. Where are we heading? Is this the right candidate? What have they said that makes us want to follow them or want to become part of a certain group? Surely, I mean, it's tweets like these and many others, not just from Chamisa, but even through ZANU PF, that you fail to understand why people even support such nonsense. Really, we are being shortchanged. We have to see this. We are not getting anything out of this. We are not getting anything. They are getting richer. And sometimes we go to an extent of actually sponsoring it. So we are only perpetuating our own suffering. We really have to stop at some point. That's what I have to say.
Thank you very much again, Benjamin. And to the listeners, thank you very much for joining us tonight. And I hope you'll be able to join us tomorrow for another analysis of the current affairs in Zimbabwe. Thank you and good night.
Thank you very much. Good night.